I tried to warn you about my Cowboys. I tried to warn you about your Ravens. And speaking of Dallas, how about them Cowboys? Woo!
My sister called me late.
Show's over. I'm done. That's all I needed.
You know what my sister did? My sister stayed up. It was like 11:45. She called me last night. Skip gonna get you.
Oh, no. She did?
Am I? Condolences and good luck.
I thought we were cool, Skip. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We brothers.
We're real cool, because I'm real cool today.
Okay.
I'm on fire.
So, Shannon, I will start with you. Scale of 1 to 10. How impressive are the Cowboys?
My old college jersey number, 2.
2?
That's all they get.
What game were you watching?
I watched the game that you watched.
Well, what TV were you watching?
You first of all.
Wait a second. I got to ask. Can you go buy like a Cowboy hater TV
No.
that shows you a different game like they lucked into it?
That's exactly. You mentioned it. See, you already knew.
Yeah.
You know there was. Skip, look. The Chargers gave this game away. They had 2 TDs called back by penalties, cost them 11 points. When you look at it, they had 12 penalties for 99 yards. 11 of those penalties were on the offensive side of the football. The Chargers had 7 drives. Now, normal NFL game, there's normally about 11 drives. They had 7 drives. All of those 7 drives reached at least the 35-yard line of the Cowboys. If they kick field goals on all the drives, they win the ball game 21-20.
Oh.
So
that's a landslide.
No. But they would have won the game. It wouldn't have been a landslide. But Skip, they had 2 touchdowns called back with the proceed. And I think that's what drives the coach crazy, Skip. It's the pre-snap penalties. Holding, the one Jerry Cook got on Wolf Hunter, Skip, that was a holding. I mean, a couple of those calls, they were very, very obvious. Okay, I got no problem with that. You saved your quarterback. You didn't take the proper steps. Your technique wasn't good, and it got you in trouble from the start. Okay, I get those. But Skip, the illegal shifts, the illegal formations, the pre-snap penalties, you got to be better than that. You got to be, and the Cowboys are doing everything they possibly could to give you the game, especially that last drive. But that's neither here nor there. Skip, the Cowboys got off to a great start. 14 points in the first quarter. 13 first downs, a 15-play drive, 7 minutes to start the game. And I'm like, man, are you serious? And then all of a sudden, the Chargers settle in. And even though it was, the Cowboys get 14 points in the first half, in the first quarter, Skip, they only gave up 6 points over the last 3 quarters. So the game was right there for the Chargers to take. But it was those self-induced penalties that cost them the ball game. You can't do those things. You take 2 touchdowns off the board. You can't take big plays off the board. So for me, I'm gonna give them the 2, and I only gave them the 2 because they won. Because they wasn't overly impressive to me. Justin Herbert outplayed your guy, and you know it too, Skip Bayless. You know it. Don't you sit up here? Nah, don't look at that stat sheet. But that's okay. You know what today?
I see one guy's QBR, my guy's was 42, your guy's was 34. So QBR says Dak outplayed Justin Herbert.
42? You have it with a 42?
Well, it's not great, but it was good enough in the end to win the game. And by the way, my guy on the final drive went 5 for 5, and that equals $75 million man. He lived up to his money.
All I'm saying
Thank you.
I gave you a 2, but I thought the Chargers did a lot of damage, self-inflicted damage, that cost them to lose the ball game. It's your day. Enjoy your day.
Yeah.
Everybody has one, but your day is coming.
And now it is my turn. I thought about giving my team a 10 for this, but a 10 would have been beating Tom Brady at Tampa Bay on opening Thursday night. So that forces me back 1 notch to a 9. This was a 9 on a scale of 10 when it comes to victories, because I told you all week it was against all odds. What happened all week long? What drove me nearly to the edge of the cliff? Every day, every hour, I looked at my phone and we lost somebody else. We lost another starter to injury or to COVID or to suspension, to the point that we were down 5 starters on defense alone. We lost both our bookend defensive end pass rushers. We were without our safety, Donovan Wilson. I can go on and on. We were without our right tackle, Lyle Collins. And by the way, our stand-in right tackle, I didn't hear his name called. Did you hear anything about Terrence Steele? I think the man of steel held up pretty well, didn't he? And we were without Michael Gallup, and I can go on and on. And this is the kind of of what can go wrong, will go wrong for my team that would have crushed my team's spirit last year or the year before when we missed the playoffs. And somehow I told you that this team has a new fight to it. It has a new spirit. It got launched out of Hard Knocks. And I told you, Dak is back. He's 100% healthy, and he is living up to the $75 million because the pressure is off for him to compete against Jerry Jones in a contract impasse to finally get the respect he deserves. He was crumbling under the pressure to win the contract. Now he is skyrocketing without any pressure on his shoulder pads after he got paid and finally got rewarded for what he has achieved for this franchise. So all of a sudden, when the pressure was highest yesterday, he was at his greatest. And I look at my team, and I told you, this is the wounded tiger theory, where you have to just rise up and everybody has to play a little bit over their means. And that it's an old theory from the early NBA days that I covered back in the 1970s. Beware the regular season team that seems like it has no chance because of injuries or suspensions or COVID. And here we came right out of the gates, as you just said. We went 78 yards in 15 plays. That didn't happen. Dak was on an historic pace of throwing for 1 billion yards on 1 billion completions, as we talked about on Friday over the last 5 games, and they were lucky to win 1 of the 5 games.
Right.
It took a lucky watermelon onside kick against Atlanta for them to pull that game out 40-39. And it was because Dak always started slowly, and they dug holes they couldn't dig back out from under. The point was they took it right down the Chargers' throats without, just completely undermanned, with no chance. They took it all the way home, 78 yards, 15 plays, and all of a sudden it's 7-0. And before the first quarter ended, you mentioned it, we piled up 13 first downs. Do you realize that tied an all-time NFL record for the first quarter? Is that not flipping the script from the way we used to start games, where we'd fall tragically behind and not be able to, and Dak would throw for 1,000 yards in the fourth quarter that you would dismiss as empty calories? Am I right?
They were.
Okay, so here they came. And what did I predict on Friday? I said, we will balance it up. 50-50 run pass, and I even underestimated that. Do you realize that we ran it 31 times and we threw it only 27 times? The Dak Prescott, who threw 58 passes at Tampa Bay while we ran it only 18 times, just threw it 27 times. That's less than half what he threw at Tampa Bay. Do you realize we actually ran the ball 31 times? And do you realize that my little man, Tony Pollard, who I keep telling you has a gear that Zeke just doesn't have anymore, do you realize he went 13 times for 109 yards? It was the breakout star of the game, right? And do you realize that a man that you loved before the draft even more than I did, Micah Parsons, what did I say? What did I predict had to happen on Friday? I said he has to put his hand in the, so to speak, dirt. He has to get down in a stance as a defensive lineman, a defensive end, a pure pass rusher. What did they do right from the start? They just put him right down, and they moved him all over the line, but they put him down at Randy Gregory or DeMarcus Lawrence or even sometimes from the middle. He was wreaking havoc. Yeah. As he said after the game, there are a lot of tired guys over there trying to block me, and that is exactly right. Sometimes they blocked him at the expense of somebody else getting loose.
Well, the thing was, Skip, is what they did. They found a weak link. The right tackle, Bulaga was out,
gone.
And they put the backup in there, and he wore him out. He was inside, outside, spinning him like a top.
Okay, so we wind up with 198 yards rushing. Who saw that coming?
No.
A team that is just pass happy to the point of being pass nutty, right? We ran the football right down their throats. We took control of the game early, and then we took back control of the game late. That's how you win games on the road. My quarterback won for the first time in 7 road games. He was 0-6 in his last 6 road games, and he finally broke through and deserved to win this one because he took it over late. And here's a little stat for you. My team is now 25-0 under Dak Prescott as a starter when they run more than pass. Aha! Maybe they found the magic formula. Maybe they told Dak you can't check out of every run call that you get in your helmet, right?
Well, maybe because they got Zach Martin back and you don't want to be checking out of it. So it's a whole different ballgame. You like Connor McGovern, but he ain't Zach Martin.
And he didn't get to play yesterday. I thought maybe he would be in place of Biotish at center, but it didn't seem to matter. They hung on. I still think Biotish gets overmatched, and occasionally he got just ramrodded and knocked on his tail yesterday. But it did not matter. And my defense continues to make plays when they absolutely have to be made. Could we see what my man Trevon Diggs did just shocked me in the first quarter when out of nowhere, I thought, here comes Justin Herbert. He went 20 yards and 22 yards, and I thought, oh, he's just going to march down the field. And here's Justin Herbert to Trevon Diggs. He just snuck right in front of the receiver and just snatched it. Now, that's a Pro Bowl play to me, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a kid.
Undercut it right. He knows he's running the deep over. Look, undercut it.
And he got him, and he caught it.
Got it.
And a lot of DBs can't catch that ball because that was a really good catch. Am I right?
Yep.
Okay, so then Dak comes right back, not to his credit, and just when I think we're just going to storm in from 14-0, and he throws an inexplicable interception. 6:09 in the first quarter, if we could see this. He just throws it to nobody. I don't know where it's going. It sails. It's just like, I don't know. I think it was for CD.
It was, because Amari was running the clear CD, and it just sailed on him, Skip. It just sailed on him.
It just sailed. So this is the kind of play that my team just unravels over, where they look at each other like, here we go again.
Right.
But they didn't, here we go again. They gave up a field goal, so it's only 7-3.
Right.
And then we come right back and we go 75 yards and 7 plays at the end of the quarter, and we're ahead 14-3. And I'm saying this team is different. This team has a new spirit. This team has a new collective force about it, where it's got some young talent that doesn't know the difference. And all of a sudden I'm thinking, we just might have this. So they roar back in the second quarter, and they cut it to 14-11, the weirdest score ever. It was the only 14-11 halftime score in the history of the National Football League. And yet near the end of the first half, we have another blunder. The kid Kamara, who was the star who emerged on Hard Knocks, we got to see his mom, the family from Africa, and he barely made the team. We got to see him make the team. And so he's trying to make a play on a punt block, and you just can't make it. It was just overzealous.
But, Skip, I don't know why you would call this. Why would you even call punt block in a situation like this, Skip?
I don't know. And I'm not sure if it was a called punt block. I don't know. Maybe he just got a wild hair and said, I'm going to be a star. I'm going to make a play. I'm going to live up.
Yeah.
And it's not just running into, it is roughing. And fates were with us. They missed their 44-yard field goal. And that's when I said, maybe this is our day.
I don't know, Skip. A guy that barely makes the team, he's not going to go rogue and says, you know what, I'm going to go block this. Because normally your job is to stand the guy up, block the guy on the return, unless they call punt block.
Yep, I agree. So then, very quickly, could we see a very interesting play that happened at the end of the half? Because instead of throwing Hail Mary to the end zone, you went half a Hail Mary to CD, who suddenly gets loose. This man can run with the football. They ran him out of the backfield once for 13 yards, and he's loose, and he's loose. And for a while, I thought he was just going to say, I got this, but the play that's called is it's a lateral play. And here comes Zeke. And at the end of the play, I'm thinking, if that had been Tony Pollard, would maybe he have had that gear and gotten to the pylon? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe. But Zeke is not the speedster he used to be at the Ohio State.
That's the Miami play against your Patriots.
And that is true. That is exactly what it was, but it didn't quite get home. And so I thought maybe that would have done it. You know, that's the kind of play that wins the game. But now we got to do it the hard way. And could we see then what happens? It gets to be 3rd and goal at the 9. This is late in the third quarter, and it looked like we're in trouble again. And guess who came out of nowhere? My little man Kazee from Atlanta, who played for the worst pass defense in the history of pro football last year in Atlanta. He makes this play on Justin Herbert. Whew. Kazee made a play just the way he made it on Chris Godwin, remember, at Tampa when Chris Godwin looked like he was going in for the big touchdown that would have broken the game open.
Keenan Allen slipped.
Yep, he slipped. and Kazee makes a play. So we had 2 big picks of Justin Herbert. I'm going to remind everybody, that's the same Justin Herbert who converted 14 of 19 third downs at Washington, the team that I don't know, we'll find out later today which team you think in the East is the biggest threat. It was Philly, then it went to Washington. Who knows? It may be the Giants by today.
They're going to be the Giants.
Okay, but Justin Herbert beat the team you think is the biggest threat to Dallas at Washington.
Yep.
He beat them with 14 of 19 third down conversions, and my team intercepted him twice in game-turning situations, right?
Right.
Okay, so then I've got to show one more play here. In the next series, Dak gets sacked, and it's a huge play. It's a 3rd and 9 play from the 16. This is with 11:21 left in the game. He gets sacked, and he fumbles, and this could have ended me. And guess who pounced on the football? My Hall of Fame bound guard, Zach Martin. He makes the play of the game for me because if you don't fall on this ball, I think we're cooked.
Right.
Speaking of Jared Cook, who we're about to get to. But I thought we were cooked, and Zach Martin says, I got this. And that set up the ability to kick a field goal that gave you the 17-14 lead.
And you also lucky, Skip. What happens normally when guys get like that? They get rolled up from the back.
Usually they do. I would agree with you. Okay, so now speaking to Jared Cook. And by the way, Jared Cook, he's the biggest mystery in the league to me. He's now on his 6th team, and every time I see him, he's just making plays. He makes plays all over the field. He has killed me time and time again, and he's on his 6th team. I don't understand it.
I do.
Do you?
I do.
Because?
Because his football, his football IQ is not what Skip. When I mentioned the penalties, Keenan Allen got a penalty for taunting.
Yep.
He got a penalty for taunting. Skip, if you look up the definition.
Okay, but that didn't even matter. The taunt, he did taunt.
Right.
But before the fact, there was an illegal shift. Okay, so let's go to that play. It's 1st and goal at the 2-yard line? Yeah, 1st and goal at the 2. And they get called for an illegal shift that was not explained. So I don't even know what happened, but it has to be Jared Cook.
No. At the top of the screen, Skip.
Do you think so?
Go back. If you can get
let's see it. Because the
guy's in motion, and he's still stepping forward.
Okay.
And you got to come set.
It looked like Jared Cook was not set.
Look at the guy at the top. See?
Did he back up a little bit?
Yep.
But I thought Jared Cook, watch 87 in the slot, he sort of leans forward like he didn't get set. I'm not sure. Watch Jared Cook.
Bro,
did he get set? I don't know.
But here's the thing. He can look at the guys at the top of the screen and see they're moving. You stop. Okay, then you start to move again.
I got it. So was it a fair call is all I know, because at first I couldn't find it. No?
Yeah, it was a fair call. It was an illegal shift, Skip. You got 2 guys moving at the same time.
Okay.
And neither guy came set. You got to come set. Now, if Jared Cook when Jared Cook starts to move, look at the guy at the top. Now, if he stops, now the guy he stops and the guy at the top is still shuffling.
So I thought I was cooked again, and all of a sudden, it's a 5-yard penalty.
Right.
Which leads to Micah Parsons. And I will be the first to admit publicly, I thought this was a bad call.
Yeah, that was a bull jive call.
This is a bad call.
You know good well he wasn't in no grass.
This is the sack where Justin Herbert retreats, and Micah comes full speed at him, and you are not going to backpedal and beat Micah Parsons. But I thought he had enough time to get rid of the ball before he was in the proverbial grasp.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
So I don't get it. It's not reviewable because it's just a subjective play.
Right.
It's up to the referee to time it and call it and try to save the quarterback.
It's not a turnover play, so therefore it's not reviewable.
But I will make the case that even if you had called it correctly, even if it had just been incomplete, then what does that make it? It makes it 3rd and goal to 7.
Yes.
The way my defense had been playing, who knows but what we rise up and force the field goal, which is what we ended up forcing.
3rd and 7 from the 7. 3rd and goal from the 7 is a lot different than 3rd and goal from where it was, the 22, something like that, because it's a sack.
Well, they just had to give it up. He just had to toss it to Eckler and get some yards, and then they kicked a short field goal.
Right.
It was only a 29-yard field goal.
Right.
So either way, I don't think that lost the game or won the game.
Well, I like your chances better from the 7 as opposed to 22.
Okay, so then here comes my man, Dak Prescott, Dakota Reign, R-E-I-G-N Prescott. And the big plays are this one, 3rd and 4 from the 19. After Zeke had gotten stoned on the first down carry for -1, he hit Zeke with a little route to the sideline that was huge. It saved the game. Way to go, Zeke.
But I don't understand what 43 is looking at.
I don't either.
The guy's inside. Okay, so what, I mean.
Okay, he beats both of them. And that's all we
Bro,
needed.
you got the flag.
We are back in business, and now it's time for my man Amari, who has never been a road warrior, and he road warriored up. Because
He had one, but this is the only play you can remember he had.
that's the only play of the game, but it's a beautiful pass between two defenders, and he sucked it up, and he held on, and he caught the ball, and they say he's got a rib injury from
Yeah,
it.
they didn't touch him.
They didn't even touch him. I
They're
would
not
agree.
doing- come on,
But
Amari.
It was a tight catch in traffic that is droppable.
Yeah.
It's droppable because for him, he's not the mentally toughest guy. There's so much traffic, you could bobble that
Yeah,
one.
they didn't even touch Amari. They hit each other.
Okay. And yet then we go all the way down to the chaos at the end. If we could just see the chaos,
Right.
Mike McCarthy loses control of the game. We're going to get into
He
this
lost
in
his
detail.
mind.
He lost his mind. He had all kinds of excuses. They run Tony Pollard, which is crazy because this is not a time to run the football. He says somebody came out who should have been in the game, and he says the scoreboard clock went out, which I find preposterous.
But I'm saying, no, but did the question I have, I don't have the sound up.
Yep.
Did they mention that from the booth that the sound is out? Because
No.
remember in the Alabama
No.
game, the thing
No,
went out
no.
and they were talking about
No,
it.
they were not
I didn't
talking
hear.
about it.
I don't
Nobody
know.
was
Maybe they
talking
did. Maybe
about
they
it.
didn't. You would
Okay?
know.
So the point is they didn't say anything. It's
Okay.
just chaos at the
And
end.
then he said the cameraman was blocking Kellen Moore.
Kellen Moore couldn't see because of the cameraman. Stop it. All I know is Greg the Leg took Mike McCarthy off the
did.
hook.
He did.
And this is what I've been telling you. The theme of the year for me is this team will win in spite of its coach and its owner GM. In spite of both of them, we won that game with a 56-yard field goal, longest walk-off kick in the history of my Dallas Cowboys.
Yes.
How about them?
But Skip, you and I both know you don't play. Okay, yeah, if that's as far as you can get, okay, you take it. But you don't play and say, once we get
let's
inside of
get a
60,
56-yard field goal.
we good with that. It's not, you
That
don't get
was
3
obviously
points.
not the goal.
You don't get 3 points just because you line up to kick a field goal. The
No.
ball has to go through. That's 56 yards.
But that one would have been good from 60.
Well, Skip, he has the leg.
He's
we know
got
he has
the
the
leg.
leg.
Boy, this
Yep.
is going to be an interesting day. Skip's going to be just feeling it. Shannon, you're going to have to be ready.
Thank you for watching. You can subscribe here to get the latest from the show, and be sure to check out more of the best clips from Undisputed, or go watch a few other segments from our other shows on FS1.